Hey there, it is Jessica Weaver, author of Strong Woman, Stronger Assets. And I have some things I want to share with you today. And it's brought on because I met with a woman last week for a strategy session. And I have a Strong Retirement Club, and she wants to join the club. She's not quite the typical age of people in the club. She's a little bit younger, a little bit farther from retirement. But what we were talking about really came up. She's dealing with her parents aging, and she knows that she's going to be in charge of their financial situation, their health, figuring out if they're going to stay at home or go to a nursing home, all those different components. And that's what really appealed to her about the club, being able to understand how it all is going to work, to be able to have control over it, and really good understanding with it. And it's like, wow, there's a whole nother demographic for our Strong Retirement Club. And I know it's a big thing. Stephanie, it is so hard to talk to your parents about money. It's so hard to talk to them about their health declining on both sides. I know this past Christmas, I talked to both my parents and my in-laws and asked them if we can, instead of buying Christmas gifts for us, why don't we do, a trip or something? And especially with my mom and dad, they were so reluctant because they're still in that mentality that they want to provide for us and take care of us. Hey, Peggy. So it's very hard to switch roles, and now all of a sudden you are the ones looking out for your parents and taking care of them, figuring out the financial aspects of it, the health. How are you going to be able to support them with their health needs? Whether it's extra aids at home, assisted living, a nursing home. And sometimes parents can be very reluctant to it. And it probably comes from these fears. They don't want to come to terms with this as their future. This could happen at any moment, really. Hi, everybody watching. And it's scary for them. And they really don't want to think about themselves in a nursing home. No, none of us want to think about ourselves in a nursing home. So how do we start the conversation? How do we make sure everybody knows what's going to be involved, what it's going to take? And like I said, it's not easy because you really are switching roles from them taking care of you to you're now taking care of them. They're now your responsibility, and they don't want that. And they don't want to feel like you're worried about them. They don't want to feel like you're always worried if they're going to have a fall or break their hip, hurt their back, and worry about their money stuff. So what I always recommend, I'll share a few tips that I tell my clients is, once you retire, you really should have this conversation with your own kids. Once you come to that point in your life when you're thinking of slowing down, stop saving, start spending your money, you should have a conversation with your family. And you should have all of your documents set up, right? Your estate documents, your will, power of attorney, which says who's going to make the decisions for power of attorney, who's going to make the decisions for you if you can't make them anymore, and your living will or a healthcare power of attorney. What do you want to happen if, say, you're in a coma? And again, you can't make those decisions. So financially, what will happen to you, and medically, what will happen to you. And it's really important to have a family discussion so that everyone knows what are your priorities, what do you want to happen, instead of them trying to figure out later on, trying to guess, and they have this huge guilt weighing on them because they want to do right by you. So now if you're dealing with parents at that point, as soon as you can, sit down to just have a family discussion. And you could say, I saw this woman on Facebook talking about this, and it brought up some things that I don't understand about your estate or your plans, mom and dad. What are you guys thinking? Do you want to stay at home first? Do you want to go to a nursing home? Some way to just get the ball rolling, get the conversation started is so important because, again, you don't want that burden just to be thrown on you all of a sudden and being reactive to what's going on with your parents. The more proactive you can be, the more likely that they will maintain their health, that they will have enough money to afford all of it and to have the legacy that they probably want. So get the conversation going. Sit down with an estate attorney. If you need one, message me. I know a ton in New Jersey. sit down with an estate attorney and make sure that what your parents want to happen is actually going to happen. And I love doing these as another family meeting. So we have the initial family meeting where everything is put on the table. What is the ideal plan? Next, we got to execute that plan. So we need to bring in the different professionals like an elder care attorney or an estate attorney to make sure that happens. I have a few of these family discussion meetings coming up, and we're bringing in the estate attorney to make sure we're going to execute it properly. And it's really important to also bring in, I keep saying important, it's all important, but to bring in the advisor, because an attorney will focus on the legal side, the law. The attorney is going to bring in the financial aspect of it, okay? So having family discussions, knowing where all the documents are. Do you know where all your parents' documents are? Their power of attorney, their living will, their healthcare power of attorney. So something happens, they fall, they have a stroke, they get hit in a car accident, and now all of a sudden you have to make these decisions, but you can't make them unless you have these documents ready and on hand. So another step that you can do is if you know where your parents' money is, which you should because you're having the family discussion, knowing where the documents are and knowing where the money is, you can merge the two and connect the documents with where the money is. Now, what does that mean? Hey, Peggy, hey, Lindsay. That means that if something were to happen to you and to your parents, and they're mentally they can't make a decision for themselves, yet they still have their bills going on, and you need access to their money to pay their bills. Well, if you link the power of attorney to their bank account, if you can link their power of attorney to an investment account, then you're already one step ahead, and you can get the bills paid and everything moving along so much more smoothly. So it's another way to be proactive in getting things in place. Okay, so what do we talk about? Having a family discussion about what is the ideal plan for your parents, where's the money, where are all the accounts, and what are those connections with their advisors or estate documents, and who is their estate attorney, and is that attorney still around? Probably not. Do you need to update anything? If a power of attorney is older than a year or two, you need to update it. So you might need a new connection with an attorney. So creating the ideal plan, knowing where the money is and where the documents are. 2, bringing in the professionals. You can bring in the advisor, the estate or elder care attorney, okay? And then 3, starting to be proactive with it. Already connecting the money with the estate documents, right? Connecting the money with a trust or a power of attorney, whatever needs to get into place. And having ongoing conversations with this. And I know it's hard. You kind of gotta chip away to get your parents to open up about it, to finally get them to talk about it. One parent might be more willing than another. But again, you're switching roles on them, and all of a sudden you're taking care of them, and they don't want that. They don't want to be a burden on you. So maybe explaining to them that by having these conversations, they're not being a burden on you, they're preventing that. And that might help them to open up and get them moving along better. And if you have siblings who are out of state, it's good for everyone to be in on the initial conversation. And then maybe you're spearheading all the meetings. Whoever's local needs to be spearheading all the meetings because you want the local advisor or attorney who understands your state's laws, taxes, all those things. All right. So I hope this helped today. I know if you're interested, because the club, we talk about all these things. I mean, it's heavy stuff, but we need to address it. So if you're maybe you're not focused on retirement quite yet, it's not your initial priority, but your parents are facing these issues, the club might be a great place for you to get the support you need, the education you need, and the resources with all the different professionals who you can use to help out with your parents, so they won't be a burden on you. So if you want more information on the club, go to strongretirementclub.com. I love to talk with you to see if I can answer any of your questions from this video. All right, take care, everybody. Happy Monday.